If you watching this video, I can guarantee you have played at least a game in your life. It can be mobile game, it can be desktop based app game, or whatever that is. Now you want to make a career in it and you want to understand how you can become a game developer. So in this video, I'm going to discuss with you in detail how you can become a professional game developer and make a career in it. Now, few things I want to mention before I start this video. First of all, my video is not focused towards salary because obviously everyone understands if you have the set of skills, you will actually make a great money. It does not matter if you're a game developer or you're what. So I'm not going to mention anything related to salary. Secondly, this approach is going to be sort of an approach where you can actually become a professional game developer because you have the fundamentals all sorted rather than going into a specific tool based approach. Okay, so make sure you stick till the end. So what is the first step of becoming a game developer? So first of all, you have to understand, you have to learn the skill of designing 2D, 3D designs, if I may. What do I mean by that? Whatever character you see in a game, that is a design. It can be either 2D, which has 2 dimensions. It can be 3D, which is a 3 dimension. So you have to learn the designing part of it. Now, a lot of people say, no, I'm not looking to become a designer there. What I want to mention is that if you're going to learn this skill of designing 2D or 3D characters, if I may, or environment, if I may, you will be able to understand how you can actually make this game better. A very simple example, if I want to give, like let's say you move to a new city. If you're going to use Ola or Uber to actually move around the city, you won't be able to understand anything. You won't learn anything. You won't find out what location is where. But if you're going to use your foot, if you're going to walk there, if you're going to use public transport, if you're going to interact with people, hey, I want to go there, you will be able to actually make a better experience. So in similar scenario, what I want to mention, this is a very basic fundamental. Learn how you can like design 2D and 3D assets because that is going to become a very big advantage for you. Now you have mastered the skill of designing 2D and 3D assets. Now I want to mention one thing. It is not required that you become a professional designer there. You spend 9 years of your life, 7 years of your life just to learn how to design. I think hardly 3 months are sufficient. For a very specific reason, if you want to become a professional designer, in that case, you can pursue continuously. Otherwise, that is it. You have the basics sorted. Now you can move to the next step, which is making animations. Whatever game you see, if someone is running, if someone is jumping, if someone is dying, if someone is actually flying, that is nothing but an animation. Now, if you don't know animation, you won't be able to actually make a game for a very specific reason. Nobody likes a static game. Just imagine if I have this cube and this cube is just going to move in this direction with like this. There is no animation, there is just flickering and it is moving from one frame to another frame. Secondly, when you learn about the animation, you learn something about framing. At what frame you have to do this kind of an asset, at what frame you have to move hand from here to here. So this is very important and I would say you can spend around 2 months, that is it. If you don't want to become a professional, that is fine. You can not become a professional animator, but you have to understand how the animation works because ultimately at somewhere down the line, you have to do this animation part where you have to actually quickly make some changes or update it or maybe upgrade it. So in that case, this skill set is going to be very handy for you. Okay, so I thought I want to become a game developer, but whatever you have mentioned is all about designing. Well, that is not. Next part is learn a programming language. Now, there are various programming languages used by various games. You can use C++, you can learn JavaScript, you can learn C# and whatnot, you can learn Python. But that depends upon what is the best programming language or what is the language being used by that particular tool. So it is better that you learn the fundamentals of programming around game development. And how you can do that? You can start learning by building your own games. You can make games in Java, you can make games in almost every language, but you have to understand not every programming language is designed to make games. So try to focus more on those kind of languages. If I have to give my take on that, what I would say, you can go for C#, you can go for JavaScript, and obviously you can go for Python. Python is not specifically designed for game development, but yes, a lot of tools use Python as a language for their internal work. So this can become very handy for you. And ultimately, like let's say if someone is shooting someone, if you want to decrease their life by 10, you have to do that maths, and that happens through a programming language. So obviously these languages can become handy for you. Now, programming is something where you have to master yourself. You have to learn practically. You have to actually approach towards that. The next step which is going to be for you, it's going to be 2D development. Now, what do I mean by 2D development? 2D development is actually making a game which is a 2D game. So you have this particular character. If that particular character has to jump, it has to jump in the y-axis. If it has to move in the x-axis. So try to understand that this is something you cannot actually imagine. You have to learn how things are happening. Like let's say you have this particular player. So if you are going to shoot a bullet, what is the location where this bullet is going to affect this person? Like let's say bullet is hitting in this location, it should not affect the health of a person, or I should say the character. But if the bullet is hitting the person in this particular location, it should affect the health of the person. So try to understand, these are the very basic things. If you're not going to learn these things, it is going to become practically impossible for you to become a very good game developer, if I may. You can become an average game developer, but if you want to make a great career, in that case, that is going to be different. Similarly, like you have learned 2D game development, now it's time for you to learn 3D game development. There are various libraries, there are various tools which you can actually use to actually enhance your skill for 3D development. There is a big difference between 2D and 3D. In 2D, we move in Y and X axis. In 3D game development, we move in Y, X and Z axis. So you have to understand this is going to be very different. All the approach towards it, the body part of it, the gravity part of it, and various jargons which are available in the gaming industry in terms of development. So you have to learn this thing. So make sure you actually learn how to make a 3D game. Now, obviously, you may feel like overwhelmed. Avinash, isn't there any shortcut? Well, the simplest shortcut is don't become a game developer, because obviously you have to learn these steps. If you're not going to master them, you're going to become an average game developer, which I don't feel you want to become. Now, the final part is learn the game development tools. What game development tools do, they actually provide you a faster way of making games. Now, I'm not going to deny whatever I've discussed in the previous slides, they are irrelevant, they are not required. But what I want you to say is, if you're going to learn those concepts and if you're going to implement in these kind of tools like Unity, Unreal Engine, it is going to make your process of making game very faster. These platforms are free. You can actually check them on the internet. These platforms are free. They have a dedicated forum where you can actually learn, and they have a lot of tutorials available on the internet. So you can actually start learning the game development and you can start making the games which are going to actually fulfill your dream of becoming a game developer. So that is it for this video, guys. In case if you have a question, put that in the comment of this video. And if you need a career guidance related to what is the right path for you, obviously in that case, there is a link which is given in the description of this video. Click that link, fill in the details, and someone from our team will assist you with your right career path.